Today we delve into the intriguing mystery of Cain's wife, a figure that opens up a range of questions about the origins of humanity. Cain's story is widely known for his act of fratricide, but little is said about the woman who stood by his side, raising generations beyond the Garden of Eden. Join us as we explore the theories, implications, and narratives surrounding this enigmatic character and her influence on the expansion of the human race. Was she one of the daughters of Adam and Eve, or does her origin have roots in an untold story? Stay with us and find out. If you believe that family is everything in our lives like I do, I invite you to speak out and strengthen our faith community. Comment below family, and I will like and give a heart to your comment because that way I will know that you are a testimony of faith and give importance to the most important people in your life. In a world newly carved out by the divine, where nature pulsed with the first vibrations of creation, Adam and Eve emerged as the progenitors of humanity. They lived in harmony until the weight of their choices stripped them of innocence. From their union, Cain was born, marked from the beginning not only as the firstborn but as the bearer of a singular destiny. Cain grew up under the vast blue sky of Eden, learning to cultivate the land alongside his father. While Adam taught him how to turn the earth, Eve shared with her son the legends of paradise and the mysteries of her own existence, a legacy of love and transgression. The stories of the serpent and the tree of knowledge were told by the fire, while the stars embroidered the night cloak with stories of long ago. Over time, Eve brought another son into the world, Abel, who proved to be skilled with animals, complementing his brother, who mastered the soil and crops. In those primeval days, the rivalry between the brothers was just a dormant seed, as each developed their skills, preparing for the moment when they would present their offerings to the Creator. Cain's life was intertwined with the cycles of the earth, planting in the right season, harvesting under the midday sun, and offering the first fruits in gratitude. He felt the earth vibrate beneath his bare feet and saw the abundance of harvests as a sign of his own connection with the divine. However, simple existence in Eden began to show signs of complexity as Cain contemplated his parents' legacy and the inevitable shadow of their fall. As Cain and Abel grew, their distinct natures became more evident. Abel, with his serene manner, had a natural affinity with animals, caring for the sheep with patience and tenderness that seemed to reflect the heart of God. Cain, on the other hand, was a man of the earth, his hands always rooted in the soil, working tirelessly to grow the fruits that would sustain his family and honor his Creator. The climax of their lives together approached with the celebration of the annual sacrifice, a sacred time to show gratitude and devotion. Abel selected the healthiest of the lambs, an animal whose eyes shone with unquestionable purity, and offered it as a burnt offering. The flames consuming his offering were a sign of divine acceptance. Cain, with equal sincerity, brought the fruits of his hard work, meticulously chosen vegetables and grains. However, while the flames devoured Abel's sacrifice, Cain's offering remained untouched, thick, heavy smoke slowly rising, a clear sign of rejection. Cain's heart filled with bitter despair. In his mind, all the hours of toil and sweat now seemed like a futile effort, exacerbated by the divine acceptance of Abel's offer. The injustice he felt was a fire that consumed his insides, fueled by every look of contentment and peace that Abel received. Brotherly love, once an unshakable foundation of their existence, began to crack under the weight of envy and resentment. That day, something inside Cain broke. The rejection not only of his offering, but of the value of his work and his person, became an open wound from which a decision would emerge that would forever mark the history of humanity. The rivalry between the brothers, born from the divergence between acceptance and rejection, was now heading towards a tragic outcome, reflecting the complexity and imperfections of the human heart.
The first murder. In the midst of a sultry afternoon, Cain contemplated the fruits of his labor, meticulously arranged as an offering on the stone altar. He was a man of the earth, his muscles shaped by the plow and the seasons. His offering, a collection of grain and fruit, was the result of his sweat and determination, each grain and fruit carrying the weight of his hopes. God, a silent observer of human actions and intentions, scrutinized not only the material of the offerings, but the heart of the one who offered them. Abel, with quiet faith, had brought the best of his sheep, an unblemished lamb whose purity was as palpable as the trees that gently moved the sacrificial flames. His offering was consumed by a heavenly fire, a clear sign of divine acceptance. Cain's offering, however, remained untouched, the flames hesitant as if repelled by an invisible force. In heaven there was no sign of acceptance, just the cruel advance of the clouds over the sun, casting shadows on the altar. Rejection was not a matter of quality or quantity, but of something deeper and unfathomable.
God's warning Cain's attitude, intertwined with conflicting feelings, was a dark fissure, a subtle deviation in his delivery that seemed to have tarnished his offering. God sought more than just sacrifice. He sought complete surrender of the heart, free from envy, pride, or any other contamination. God's rejection of Cain was a mirror reflecting not a failure in the offering, but a failure in the offerer. The divine decision shook Cain deeply, leaving him on the brink of an emotional and spiritual abyss. At this critical moment, God did not abandon Cain to his desolation. In a show of mercy and fatherly concern, he spoke directly to Cain, warning him of the danger that lurked at the door of his soul, the sin that wanted to dominate him, but that he must dominate. This encounter was not just a judgment, but a call to repentance and transformation. The landscape of Eden, once a reflection of paradise, now seemed distorted by the weight of dark emotions growing in Cain's heart. The sky, once a canopy of vibrant colors, now often closed in ash, reflecting Cain's inner turmoil. Following God's rejection of his offering, consumed by a mixture of envy, anger, and an unbearable sense of inadequacy, Cain found himself unable to look at Abel without feeling a seething mixture of resentment and guilt. One day, under the pretext of sharing a moment in the field, Cain invited Abel to take a walk along the edge of his cultivated land. Abel, in the innocence of someone who does not conceive of malice in his heart, accepted his brother's invitation, without realizing that he was heading towards his final destination. Far from the eyes of their parents and under the vast sky that was beginning to darken with the approach of distant storms, Cain confronted Abel. The words exchanged between them, filled with repressed emotions, quickly escalated from questions to accusations. Abel, realizing the intensity of Cain's anger, tried to appease his brother, but his attempts at comfort only inflamed Cain's troubled heart. In an impulse of blind rage, Cain lifted a stone he had found at his side and, with a fatal blow, ended Abel's life. The silence that followed was deafening, only the muffled sound of the earth absorbing Abel's blood, disturbing the stillness. Cain, now with his hands stained with his own brother's blood, felt the full weight of his act. The consequence of his divine rejection had manifested itself in the darkest form possible, the first murder, the first blood spilled in wrath and envy. When God confronted Cain, not with wrath, but with sadness that permeated the heavens, Cain was already beyond comfort. His punishment would be to live as a fugitive and a vagabond on a land that would now reject his presence, just as he had rejected his brother's kindness. The story of Cain and Abel, marked by this terrible consequence of rejection, resonates through the centuries as a dark echo of the depths to which the human heart can sink when overcome by negative emotions. After the sinister act that ruptured the fabric of brotherhood, Cain found himself alone with the echo of his crime reverberating through the oppressive silence of the field. The sky, once a canopy of light and color, now seemed to watch him with a grim gravity, anticipating the divine judgment that was to come. God, whose presence was both a consolation and a condemnation, called Cain, not with thunder, but with a voice that penetrated deeper than a sword. "Cain," he said, "where is Abel, your brother?" The words were not of ignorance, as nothing escaped divine knowledge, but of an opportunity for confession, for recognition of the truth. Cain, whose heart was now as scarred as his hands, responded with a question that revealed his deep alienation. "Am I my brother's keeper?" This response, tinged with defiance and despair, sealed his fate. God then pronounced the curse that would be both a punishment and a protection. "Now therefore you are cursed from the ground, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you till the ground, it will no longer yield to you its strength. You shall be a fugitive and a wanderer on the earth." These words not only sentenced Cain to eternal exile, but also scarred the soil he once tilled so carefully, now denying him any solace and sustenance. However, within this sentence, there was also a mark of mercy. God placed a sign on Cain, a mark that would protect him from those who sought vengeance, ensuring that anyone who found him would not take his life. This mark, shrouded in mystery, was a symbol of divine justice tempered with mercy, ensuring Cain's survival amidst the consequences of his actions. It was a mark that would remind Cain and all who encountered him of the profound and tragic reality of the first murder and the divine response to human failure. The mystery of Cain's wife. As Cain ventured eastward, away from the familiar lands of his childhood, he entered the land of Nod, a place of wandering and solitude. It was here, amidst the harsh landscapes and unyielding earth, that the mystery deepened. Cain found a wife. This raises significant questions about the origins and nature of early humanity, theories and speculations. 1. Sister-wife theory. The most widely accepted theory among biblical scholars is that Cain's wife was one of his sisters or nieces. Adam and Eve, being the first humans, would have had many children over the centuries, and given the long lifespans reported in Genesis, there could have been numerous generations by the time Cain left for Nod. This intra-family marriage would have been necessary in the early stages of human population growth. 2. The pre-Adamic hypothesis. Some scholars propose the existence of pre-Adamic humans, beings created before Adam and Eve who lived outside the Garden of Eden. Cain's wife, under this theory, could have been one of these early humans. This perspective, while controversial and not widely accepted within traditional Christian doctrine, seeks to reconcile the narrative with anthropological findings of early human populations. 3. Symbolic interpretation. Another approach is to interpret Cain's wife symbolically. This perspective suggests that the figures in early Genesis may represent archetypal characters rather than specific historical individuals. Thus, Cain's wife could symbolize humanity's ability to continue and expand despite its flaws and sins, implications for humanity's early expansion. Cain's journey to Nod and his subsequent marriage suggest a broader context for early human society. It indicates that there were already established communities and networks of people beyond Adam and Eve's immediate family. This has implications for understanding the spread and diversification of early human populations. Cain's wife remains an enigmatic figure, her origins a topic of speculation and debate. Whether she was a close relative, a member of another human group, or a symbolic representation of humanity's resilience, her existence plays a crucial role in the story of early human expansion. Her presence highlights the complexities and mysteries of humanity's beginnings, inviting us to explore and reflect on the profound narratives that shape our understanding of the past. If you believe that family is everything in our lives, like I do, I invite you to speak out and strengthen our faith community. Comment below "Jesus loves you," and I will like and give a heart to your comment, because that way, I will know that you are a testimony of faith and give importance to the most important people in your life.